And the two, yep.
Check,
Two fingers
check.
up. Yep.
Just going to be me and you talking?
We are live now. Just going to be you and I.
All right.
Hello. Good afternoon, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the entire nation and the world. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Dr. James Gilmore, and you are listening to What's Going On, where we talk about what's going on in our community, in our city, in our state, the nation, and the world. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are watching us live right now on social media, on Facebook, please share this episode. Today we have, actually, my first candidate is here to be interviewed and to speak with me about the position he is running for in the state of Louisiana. And you all know how important it is to me that we are an informed voting population. We must be an educated and informed voting population. And that's why I use this platform to be able to educate people about who's running for office and where they stand on issues, and if their stances actually align with what you need in your life. So that's what today's episode is about. And I also must give the disclaimer that if anybody else is out there that is seeking office this year and you want to come on the show, please inbox me or email me at drjamesgilmorejr@gmail.com. So today I have with me someone who is running for the office of State Treasurer. State Treasurer. So this position is a position where all Louisiana citizens will vote. Not just in your local area, but all Louisiana citizens will vote for State Treasurer. And I am here to welcome Brother Dustin Granger.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure being here.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for coming on the show this afternoon. Dustin, let's begin by telling my listening audience, who you are, where you're from, who your mom and them, where'd you go to high school and college. Let our listening audience know who Dustin Granger is.
Well, I am married. I have two little girls, Muriel and Inez, and I grew up in Sulphur, Louisiana.
Sulphur.
Yeah, from Sulphur High is where I graduated, 1998. Mm-hmm. I was born in Lake Charles, and I live in Lake Charles right now.
Okay.
And after high school, went to LSU, lived in Baton Rouge for 7 years, but got my business degree from LSU.
Okay.
And a couple years after college, I ended up going back home to Lake Charles and started my own financial advisory business.
Okay, so you're a financial advisor by trade.
Yes, sir.
And you own your own business.
Own my own business. Been doing that since 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And I have got my CFP designation, which stands for Certified Financial Planner designation, which is a higher ethical standards for investing and working with people to save money, invest their money for the future, and eventually live on that income.
Okay, so maybe that's why you have an interest in being our state treasurer.
Exactly why.
Because you have several years of experience in managing finances.
Correct.
For the listening audience that may not know, and again, I like to inform, I have a diverse audience. And so those that may not know, what's the role of the state treasurer? Why does the state treasurer matter to them, and what is the day-to-day job duties and functions of the state treasurer?
Yeah, most people just don't know what the treasurer does, but it's such an important office for our state. Essentially, it's where the purse strings are.
It's where the money resides.
It's where the money resides. There's limited powers, of course, but I like to say that the state treasurer does three things. They invest for our state, they help protect our people of our state, and they advise our government on good economic policy.
Gotcha. Those are three essential, very important reasons why people should care about and vote for the state treasurer position. And so why are you seeking office?
Yeah, so this goes way back. I, like many people, are just upset at the way our state has been going. It feels like we're last in everything. And I preface this by saying that a lot of politicians always say that. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have a governor's race now, and you hear a lot of the commercials, and everybody, oh, we're worried about our state. We're last. Everybody's leaving, so vote for me. I'm running because I think with most of our politicians, that statement rings hollow, because I believe they're doubling down on bad ideas, mm-hmm. on old ideas that have proven to be wrong. Mm-hmm. And I have the experience and the know-how to help fix this. I have a plan to help fix it. I have 20 years of experience as a fiduciary, which means that I'm required by law to work in the best interest of the people I work with. Mm-hmm. I want to do the same for the state. And I don't think many of our leaders and politicians have been working for the best interest of our people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel that we're in a values crisis right now in Louisiana, where we put private interests, and when I say that, big corporations, mm-hmm. wealthy people, landowners, mm-hmm. ahead of people, mm-hmm. ahead of the public interest. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of examples you've seen of that in our last session. And I think that's key. We have to reverse those values. We have to get back to working for people. I have a plan to help fix it. There's some real issues in our state that need to be dealt with. I believe the Treasurer's Office can help do that. Mm-hmm. And we're at an inflection point. Mm-hmm. Like right now, I've been living in Louisiana my whole life. A lot of these same problems have been going on for decades and decades. Mm-hmm. Now that I have 2 daughters, I'm like, it's not just about me anymore. It's mm-hmm. about our children. It's about the next generations. Like, we should be doing everything we can to fight for change right now. Because unfortunately, I think things are about to get much worse. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like it, but I think things are about to get much worse if we don't do something now.
Well, let's talk about your plan and how, as state treasurer, you can help lead our state in a direction that's promising for our future. So, and maybe we should begin with, what are some of the things that you see that are broken when it comes to our finances as a state, or when it comes to the operations of the state treasurer's office that you intend to fix? So tell us about things that are broken, or things that you see could be improved as it relates to the state treasurer's office, and how we as a state manage our budget and our finances. And then what's your plan to help improve how we do things?
Yeah, so I mentioned that the treasurer's office, they invest, protect, and advise. Now, the treasurer really controls the balance sheet and helps manage the balance sheet of the state of Louisiana. So when I say balance sheet, assets and liabilities, what are our loans as a state, our debt as a state, and what assets do we have to work with? So the treasurer does a number of things. On the asset side, they invest state money as it comes in, from paying taxes or from the federal government.
And how well are we doing at that?
I think that one of the main problems that we have is we have a regressive tax structure mm-hmm. in Louisiana, mm-hmm. where we have relatively low revenue, but we make our poor and middle class bear the brunt of the taxes. Mm-hmm. And whenever
we feel that, by the way, we poor and middle class, we feel that.
We have the highest sales tax in the nation. Mm-hmm. For instance, anytime there's a budget crunch like we had a couple years ago, mm-hmm. and they had to raise revenue, what do? They raise sales taxes. It's never on the table to raise taxes at the top mm-hmm. when we need to raise revenue. They actually do the reverse. They cut taxes mm-hmm. at the top constantly. So as treasurer, I would advise in the Constitution, in the Louisiana Constitution, that your treasurer advises the governor and the legislature mm-hmm. On economic policy as a fiduciary. Mm-hmm. So I would advise against reversing that. Mm-hmm. And then on the debt side of the balance sheet, the treasurer manages what's called the bond commission. So anytime a municipality needs to raise money, they can raise it through the state and get a low interest rate. The state kind of acts as a bank mm-hmm. in a way. And we need to make sure and raise money and issue debt on ways that helps build our communities more.
Yeah, because absolutely in our state, we have some communities that may be thriving and then we have some communities that are hurting, especially our rural parishes.
Right.
And so so you will exercise your power and authority through the Constitution to help advise and influence legislators and our governor to make better fiscal decisions.
Absolutely.
In doing that for our communities. In the number of years that you have served as the owner of your financial advisement firm, what has been the most exciting work that you've done that you think has given you great lessons that you could take with you into the state treasurer's office? People that you've served, maybe.
Yeah, a lot of important lessons. I don't know if I consider them all very exciting, but lessons nonetheless. I started, like I said, in 2004, and not long after that, we were faced with the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. Because here I was at 28 years old, working with some of my clients that were. We have some younger clients, but there was a lot of clients that were about to retire, in retirement, some 60, 70, 80 years old, and here I am 28 trying to tell them that, hey, things are going to be all right when I didn't really know for sure. A lot of what I learned or thought about economics was kind of flipped upside down with the financial crisis about how things work, how things really work in real life.
And when the nation, has the financial crisis, the poorer states like ours, sometimes the people suffer the most.
Absolutely.
Louisiana has navigated well through the crisis, but a lot of people are still suffering as a result of the pandemic and other crises, economic crisis.
Absolutely, and the experience I learned during that, how to cope with it, how to use that as an opportunity, helped me also when we were led to further crises in Louisiana with COVID. And I live in Lake Charles, and we were hit with 2 major hurricanes in 2020, same year as COVID, and we were having to manage an insurance crisis as well. So all of these things have battle-hardened me, give me a realistic view of economics, and my philosophy of the way that we fix things in Louisiana is by investing in people. We have the highest poverty rate, highest deep poverty rate, highest child poverty rate. To me, I look at that and I think, what a wealth of opportunity we have there. The amount of untapped human talent that is there to help lift our state up, if we would just invest and nurture the people of the state.
When you look at our state budget, and we can talk about the recent session, what do you think we could have done some improvements at investing in people?
Well, I mean, how much time do we have here? I had the chance to go face to face and view some of the committee meetings during the session, and what I noticed is, when a bill was brought forward that help poverty, help people that are trying to cope with a lot of the issues that we have in Louisiana, it was brought forward. The bill was brought forward to the committee, and most of the talk was around the cost. How much is it going to cost? What's the fiscal note on this? Oh, it's going to cost our budget so many millions of dollars. But they weren't paying any attention to the tremendous amount of value that would be created from that cost. Okay? So there's 2 sides of the equation. So why is it when we bring forward bills that help people, we only look at the cost? But whenever bills are brought forward that give tax breaks or help corporate entities and stuff like that, those bills are presented as
fly out as,
and
they give us a big return on investment.
Exactly, it's positioned as an investment. Well, this is an investment we have to make in Louisiana for these private interests to do well. Don't mind the cost. Let's not really talk about or focus on that. And we have it just backwards because they are ignoring a lot of the costs that are associated with those so-called investments for private interests. Because what has that left us? By catering to private interests and big corporations, we were told that we were going to become very wealthy and all these jobs will be created. Well, yeah, that has happened to a small degree, but we're still left in the same position. We haven't climbed out of this, and we're left with all these extra costs. associated with a lot of these industries and their tax exemptions.
So would you say that as state treasurer, you would really push the legislature and the governor to really not just look at the cost impact of investing in education and healthcare and things like that, but look at the return that you get on healthier people and a smarter population?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
Once
some of
they're
that
educated.
and some of that can't be
Can't
measured
be
in
measured.
financial,
Mm-hmm.
it's measured in quality of life. There's all these different measures that can't be just made in a fiscal note.
Right.
But those are what we really have to look at if we want to climb out of the problems that we're in.
So years ago, when I worked for Governor Kathleen Blanco, we did present a bill to the legislature as a result of a Solutions to Poverty effort that she led across the state. And what we asked legislators to do, and I don't think it passed, I think it failed, but we found other ways to make it happen. I think she did through an executive order. But we also allowed, if a legislator wanted to know how a bill or a budget item would assist in reducing poverty, they could request from the budget office an impact on poverty reduction. And so there was a bill that went forth that allocated millions of dollars to education, early child care. The topic wasn't, oh, well, what's the fiscal note and how much burden will this have on our budget? A legislator could request a poverty reduction note that will show how investing X amount of dollars in early child care would help reduce poverty. And I think I love what you're saying is right now the dialogue at the Capitol is about, how much does helping people cost the state instead of how much does helping people help the state.
Right. And the way I look at it is, it's called trickle up economics. The problem is really, if we want to get deep with it, Dr. Gilmore, is a lot of our political system is run on money. It's run on special interests that it's very expensive to run a campaign. I'm seeing it right now. It's hard to get elected, and when you get elected, a lot of them want to stay there, and they need to raise a lot of money. So there's not much personal gain from politicians in helping people with poverty. So I don't think it's prioritized like it should be, and that's why we need a treasurer. Because the treasurer is constitutionally supposed to be a fiduciary for the people. Independent. We need somebody there. Yeah, we need somebody there at that platform to call out those bad economic policies that can say it from a point of neutrality or be the mouthpiece for people.
What about the bond commission? Explain to my listening audience the role of the bond commission and the influence that the state treasurer has on the bond commission, and what comes out of the bond commission that really can transform communities and help lives. Explain to my listening audience about the bond commission.
Yeah, so the bond commission, I think it's 14 or 15 people. Most of them are appointed by the governor. So many different seats, like the attorney general has a seat at the bond commission. So it's a very political commission, but the most important part of the treasurer is that the treasurer is the chair of the bond commission. So the treasurer sets the agenda. So it can't even go up for a vote for those 14 or 15 people unless it goes through the treasurer. So in a way, the treasurer is kind of a gatekeeper.
And what types of things are on the agenda at the bond commission?
So a lot of the things so basically anything that municipalities can raise money for. So anytime it could be from capital projects like building a new wind farm or any kind of energy facility that maybe the company can't raise on their own, they can go through the state to help raise money for it. Or if a stadium needs to be built, or recreational fields, or community development, downtown development. There's schools. A lot of our infrastructure throughout Louisiana, public facilities and schools, all of that needs to be upkept by raising money through the bond commission.
Exactly.
So
the treasurer sets that agenda on what communities and what resources and what infrastructure gets on the agenda at the bond commission.
Right. And sometimes, past treasurers have used it as a political tool. You know, who's greasing the wheels? Are they gonna, you know, are they friendly
Hold
with
people
them?
hostage.
You know, they hold it hostage. You know, I would use it to fight for people. You know, like there's probably a lot of good funds that need to be invested or raised around the state that a lot of people really can't get access to the bond commission.
You're absolutely right.
They may not be politically powerful. So I would make sure that regular people have access to those same loans.
How can folks learn more about your campaign?
I would go to Granger for Law. So Granger for LA.
Granger.
Yes, sir.
Number 4?
No, just FOR.
Okay,
So
got it.
Granger for FOR Law. And that's where I'm at on all the social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of that I'm on, and Twitter. And my website is actually grangerforlaw.com. So I encourage everybody to come check me out, listen to what I have to say, follow the campaign. And I'm asking for everybody's help in this because, you know, I can't do this alone. I'm fighting a lot of things, saying things that are unpopular to the political establishment.
You're talking about helping poor people.
Exactly.
You're talking about uplifting people out of poverty.
Exactly. There's not a ton of wealthy people just throwing money at this campaign. So I need people. I need people that are listening to this show to please follow along. And not only do I ask for people's vote, but I ask for your help in this campaign as well.
And when's the election?
The election is October 14th. So yes, everybody wake up. We have elections this year. Yes. It is coming. So all of the legislative seats and statewide seats are October 14th. That's the primary election. And then the runoff would be in November. So don't sleep on it till November. Get out there October 14th.
Do you mind sharing? Have you had any endorsements?
Yes, we've had quite a few endorsements lately. So, so one of our first endorsements was Devontae Lewis, Public Service Commissioner Devontae Lewis.
I supported Devontae, absolutely.
Yeah, great guy.
Great guy.
He's actually from Lake Charles originally, so we've been knowing each other for a while. Then Senator Mary Landrieu has endorsed.
Okay, excellent.
And just recently we got Gary Chambers has endorsed us.
Good endorsement. Okay.
And we got some other big ones coming
along
in the very near future.
And that tells people when folks like that endorse you, that tells people that you align with their values, which just so happen may align with the voters' values. So it's good to know that those individuals are endorsing you. I look forward to supporting you and endorsing you. I've had the chance to speak with you personally and learn about your platform, learn about your passion for helping not only people in your business make the best financial decisions to be successful, but you really care about all Louisiana citizens and how our money is invested and used to help uplift people to be able to be successful.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. You know, I haven't given up. Like I envision a new Louisiana. You know, where driving around the state now, it's like ghost towns in a lot of these rural areas. And I remember growing up, they were thriving areas.
And even in the urban areas, there were certain parts of towns that were thriving and no longer. And so we absolutely do need a state treasurer who's going to lean in and have influence on legislators and governors about where to invest Louisiana dollars.
Yes, because it can happen if we all come together. We have the people, we can do this. And I also want to tell the audience that on Juneteenth, we're going to be releasing the Black Agenda.
Oh, you got a Black Agenda?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I might have to bring you back on because I don't want to spoil the release, but it's good to know that you have a Black Agenda because Black people, we pay taxes. We are residents of this state, and we deserve to have equitable amount of resources allocated in the budget to help us grow our families, grow our businesses. And so I can't wait to hear about your agenda, your Black Agenda, as a state treasurer. That would be something that in my lifetime I haven't heard before. So I do look forward to hearing more about that.
Yeah, I look forward to talking about it.
Listening audience, I have had the privilege of talking with Dustin Granger, who is running for state treasurer. I ask you to visit his website, learn more about Dustin, get registered, and vote October 14th. This is an election year. So don't forget, be a part, be engaged in our democracy. It's your inalienable right as a citizen. Again, thank you, Dustin, for joining. Thank you, listening audience, for listening. If you know of other voters out there who may not know who Dustin is, who may not know what the state treasurer does, this show is one you want to share with them to enlighten them and educate them on the role of the state treasurer and where Dustin Granger stands in his campaign platform in serving as the next Louisiana state treasurer. Thanks so much.
And thank you, Dr. Gilmore.
Absolutely.